BlackRock, JP Morgan confirmed that crypto is the future. In today's video, I'm going to show you facts, figures, numbers, logic. If you haven't watched my target video, click right here and I'm going to show you the deep interconnected web. Now, family, this is nothing new under the sun. Okay. These are not conspiracy theories. These are things that are actually happening within our ecosystem. The biggest difference is we now have access to this information. I want you to think about this for just a moment. Many people within watching my channel, within my community, are 35 to 70 years old, net income of 75 to about 250,000. I want you to think about your wealth paradigm of what you grew up with. Our parents watched a television. It told them a vision. It channel information, and they decided what programming they got. Now we're in an ecosystem that it allows us to research, connect the dots at a very, very deep level. That's exactly why, if I showed you the target video, why the distractions are becoming more and more outlandish. It's not that these things have not existed. It's the fact that we have access to the information. So the distractions need to be much larger. So I'm not against anybody. I'm not left. I'm not right. And nobody's coming back to save me. I've already been saved. I love God. He's my president and CEO, and that's what I focus on every single day. I write down my goals. I pray every day, and I put one foot in front of the other, and I love people every single day. I love my brother and my sister just like I love God. I want to share with you guys, many people get hundreds of questions a day, and I've been putting it on the back end of the video, but I'd love to invite you to join our Warrior Academy. Access to my portfolio, our 5 pillars of wealth. We have 5 calls per week to include 2 calls with me, group calls. We also have education in there. We have our revolutionary 120-day challenge. In week 1, you'll be doing your budget. You'll be working to get your shit together. Over 6,000 people worldwide have changed their lives. So in the description down below, you can join our Warrior Academy 7 days for free and try it out. Another thing, we have our meet and greet July 15th in Mesa, Arizona. Absolutely free. Absolutely free. We are almost, actually, we're at capacity. So we're just going to let it go. But you have to RSVP because it's a free event. You can bring as many people as you want. I'm going to be doing a 45-minute speech, and your network is your net worth. We're going to do about a 3-hour meet and greet, hors d'oeuvres. We're going to have a great time. You get to see our 3T Fitness facility, our 3T Fitness Warrior Academy, and our whole ecosystem. All right, so let's dive right into this video. So what I'd like you to do, I highly recommend you pause this video and you grab a pen and paper, okay? You have to get out of this bullshit meme coin. If you're in crypto, stop trying to get rich quick. I'm going to keep saying this. I don't care if it upsets people, but I'm telling you from experience, there is no get rich quick. We are getting wealthy for sure by having strategic plan within cryptocurrency, diversifying outside of cryptocurrency, and we're mentally and physically preparing for the bull run. So this video is going to run about 25 minutes. So you have to learn to be able to sit, stay, and write notes. You have to allow this information to absorb. So I'm going to show you some facts, figures, numbers, logic along the way as I narrate an amazing video around Jamie Dimon. So what we're going to be focusing on today is BlackRock and JP Morgan. Okay. Biden doesn't run our country. BlackRock and Chase, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon run our country. That's a fact. So the things you're seeing with Target, Kohl's, the other companies out there, if you look, they're all owned by the same companies, guys. Disney owned by the same company. So the things that you're seeing is to get us to fight against each other. We're heading into civil war where the people within their own society start to battle against each other. Well, what did they do to us in the Roman days? They put us in the Colosseum. They got us drunk off the wine, and the Trojan horse came in. So get ready. But this is a beautiful thing about this. This is nothing to fear. This is the greatest time to transition your family into wealth because there's only going to be the wealthy and the working poor. Look at the wealth gaps, guys. That's not going to change. They're going to raise this debt ceiling, and they're going to continue to bury us in debt. They're going to tighten monetary policies, and it's going to collapse the middle class. Okay, so the first thing that we're looking at here is, if you get out your notepad, is this is the BlackRock's assets under management. Okay. So I want you to digest this for just a moment. And we may hear this. We're getting used to the word trillion, but you have to digest how big a trillion is. Now in 2011, they had about, where were they at? They were at about 3 trillion from 2011. Remember, okay, now listen to this for a second. In 2008, they had the financial collapse, and BlackRock was tapped by the Federal Reserve to balance out the markets. Let that sink in. BlackRock was tapped by the Federal Reserve to balance out the markets. Since after 2008, when they balanced out the markets, they went from 3 trillion in assets to 10 trillion by 2021. I guarantee that's gone up pretty dramatically with the quantitative easing from 2020 to 2022. So rationalize that. They're at 10 trillion in assets. Okay. Now let me show you to give you some depth on how big that is. This is global GDP, gross domestic product. America has 25 trillion. So they have half, one company has half of the GDP of America. They have almost half of China. And if you look at all these countries, they have they have more than all the other countries. All the other countries, guys. Think about that. BlackRock owns the monetary system, guys. Okay, so they own 10 trillion in management, so it continues to grow dramatically. They were tapped again in 2020 to balance the markets by the Federal Reserve. So we can say all day as YouTubers, we're going to change the system. Until we recognize this is what it is, if you have a couple $1,000,000, even if you're a billionaire, they got trillions, guys. Money and politics go hand in hand. Until you understand that you're not going to beat an invisible enemy, it's here and here. And if we all became sovereign and healed ourselves, that's how you beat the enemy. You're not going to overthrow the enemy by arguing and fighting. That's what they want. They want you battling. Jesus went from village to village silently, telling people to be quiet, to internally change. And the change became so big inside the people that they came to ask questions. But what we're doing is we're going telling everybody what they need to do and oh, go after this, it happens in crypto too, this tribalism and you're this or you're that back and forth. It's like that does nothing. That's what they want. They're laughing at us. They're like, okay, have fun. You're doing exactly. Okay, so I'm getting on my soapbox. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. Okay, so let me recap. So 10 trillion in management for BlackRock. Pay attention, okay? So they have BlackRock has about half of America's GDP and more than almost all the countries in the world. Now, this is interesting. In 2017, JP Morgan, there were some big transitions from 2008 all the way to now. There's some big transition happening in our global system. JP Morgan to become first custodian for 1 trillion in BlackRock's assets. Okay. So that made JP Morgan one of the most powerful, specifically Jamie Dimon, one of the most powerful bankers in the world. Jamie Dimon is someone that they tap on, and I'm going to show you a very well done video by a company, and then we're going to bounce around during that video. Okay, so BlackRock, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, World Economic Forum. You got to watch these moves that are being made, guys. This is how you look at your investment thesis. Okay. And we look at the way they're moving things around the system. We're going into ESG, environmental social governance. Inside environmental social governance is the transgender LGBT community. They're not here to support you, family. God loves everybody. This isn't about you supporting you or protecting your class. This is about money. It's not about you. That's the biggest trick that's ever been sold to us. It's not about making you feel good about, your gender class or your gender classification. It's about money, right? They're using you to get people to, now we're battling against each other, right? Like I've said on many videos, I don't care if you wear a dress in the White House, do your job. That's all I care about. I'm here to raise my family. I'm here to be a good citizen, and we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to build generational wealth and stop battling with each other. Okay. So now we know BlackRock has 10 trillion under assets. We know that they're half of America's GDP, half of China's GDP, and they're bigger than almost every single country in the world. Okay, now we're going to watch this very powerful video. Now it's going to be a 7-minute video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause and I'm going to bounce around from video to video. We'll watch through this, and I'm going to pause probably halfway through, and I'm going to show you guys the actual data of why cryptocurrency was designed for this moment in time.
Of today's 5 biggest banks in the US in 2006. This is that group in 2011, in 2016, and in 2021. You'll notice one face remained the same. This man, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon.
He is the bank is him in some ways.
Over his tenure, Dimon has become the go-to voice for banks.
We need healthy big banks. We're the best banking system in the world.
Here's how Dimon's strategy for managing risk has made him the most powerful player in the industry, and how he's used that position to steer the entire banking world. Dimon built his reputation.
Okay, that's very important. He used that system to steer the entire banking world. So let's go to our first document here. Okay, so we got block data. I love block data. They have some great visuals here. So you got JP Morgan evolution into the cryptocurrency blockchain space. In 2015, partnered with 8 other banks to form a consortium led by R3. Okay, so if you take here, you go over to R3. Okay. R3 is shaping the future. We know that R3 works with Wells Fargo for distributed ledger technology. So they were already building out distributed ledger technology, which is so ironic that Jay Clayton initiated a case against one of the largest DLT companies that was disrupting, the largest one that could disrupt innovation. Could been because Jamie Dimon was like, nope. BlackRock's like, this is a powerful ecosystem. Why do you think all other countries are supporting Ripple, but America is pushing Ripple out? Think about that for just a moment. So they're already connecting with R3, okay, back in 2017. This is Quorum, built on Quorum, the complete open source blockchain platform for businesses, a trusted open source foundation for your blockchain solution. Consensus Quorum enables enterprise to leverage Ethereum for their high value blockchain applications. Okay, so I've always told you Ethereum is deep, deep in the banking system. Okay, so let's keep going here.
Over a career that stretches back decades.
He has shaped how the big banks think about what is safe and what isn't safe. You can look around and see that his lieutenants and former executives run a whole bunch of other banks, and they all were schooled at how to run a bank by Jamie Dimon.
So key, man. It's just like politics, right? Harvard, Yale, these guys come from these big schools, and it's all one big. It all ends up in the same pot, guys. You're not going to change that system. If you understand the system, you can break yourself. You don't have to break free from anything. You can create your own system with what I'm doing is my own banking system through leveraged life insurance, through doing my finances like the 1%, and doing good with my money.
He's not a reckless banker. I think he understands you need to take risks to make money, but you also need to understand the risk and manage the risk.
The center of Dimon's risk management strategy is a concept he calls the fortress balance sheet.
I always thought you should have a fortress balance sheet in this business and maybe some of yours because bad things happen.
The idea is to build up a cushion of assets and capital to protect consumers' deposits if the bank gets hit by unexpected shockwaves.
And most banks will build the moat and build up their walls and say, we're protected. But what Jamie Dimon says is, okay, but those walls might be made of like paper mache. So on top of that wall that all the other banks have, we're going to add a higher wall, and then we're going to add some turrets up here, and then we're going to add some people walking around all the time, making sure that everything is safe all the way down.
Is it fair to say that JP Morgan could have losses of $500 billion or $1 trillion?
Not unless this Earth is hit by a moon.
Okay.
He doesn't care about this quarter's results. He doesn't care about next year's results. He cares about making sure the bank is safe. Partly, he gets to say that because he still makes a ton of money on everything he does.
Boom. He still makes a ton of money. He literally controls the banking system. And it's not by chance that they hold $1 trillion of BlackRock's assets. Remember, BlackRock, Larry Fink, is on the board of trustees for the World Economic Forum to move the mission forward, which one of the biggest missions is ESG.
But it's worked.
That strategy helped JP Morgan Chase and Dimon emerge from the 2008 financial crisis relatively unscathed, and even in a position to assist the government.
We were called upon to.
So that's key. You're going to hear that with BlackRock. BlackRock came out unscathed. They assisted the Federal Reserve in rebalancing the markets. Jamie Dimon came out unscathed and was to assist the government. They are the government. They run our country.
Take action to help stabilize the system.
In the aftermath, the bank put up big bids to acquire 2 failing financial institutions from the government, Bear Stearns and Washington Mutual.
So he made some smart acquisitions that were beneficial to him and beneficial to the government.
At the time, Sheila Bair was the head of the FDIC.
Again, beneficial to him, beneficial to the government. Money, politics go hand in hand. It's been in this system since Jesus' days, guys. This is nothing new under the sun. We're just watching a cycle, but it's time for us to understand the cycle and be on the right side of it so that we can help our families grow as well.
She orchestrated bids for Washington Mutual, the largest bank to fail in U.S. history.
We were having a hard time getting bidders in. A lot of banks just didn't want to touch it. So he did, notwithstanding the fact we were running a competitive process, he still came in and bid, thank goodness. And as I suspected he would, he did win the bid by a pretty large margin.
Even with debts incurred and lawsuits following from those purchases, the moves helped Chase grow to be the largest bank by deposits by 2011.
He's going to look at something like Washington Mutual and say, that's going to give us more deposits and more customers We're getting it at a super
Okay, did you see that in 2011? They were at $1 trillion in deposits. In 2017, BlackRock gave them $1 trillion under management.
cheap price. The government's supposed to share the losses. This is a risk that is worth taking.
WAMU put us into California, where we really weren't. Florida, we had a very small presence. Washington State.
JP Morgan grew even larger in May after it bought First Republic Bank, the second largest bank to fail in US history.
So do you see what's happening? The rules change as we go along. They call them too big to fail, but what they do is when when there's a systematic problem, people don't question it. So they bought First Republic Bank. They were waiting for this. The bank bail-in committee started in 2012, guys. So they've been waiting for this moment. They're going to monopolize the banks, and I'm going to show you what they're going to do. It's cryptocurrency, blockchain, AI technology.
But this also raised concern that the bank was too big to fail, meaning that if it were to collapse, it would have a devastating impact on the economy.
Are you too big to fail?
I don't know what that word means anymore.
JP Morgan Chase does benefit from the perception of being too big to fail. I know they don't like to hear that. They think they're very well run and they are a great bank, but I'm sorry, they get a benefit. Nobody thinks, even if JP Morgan Chase got into trouble, nobody thinks it would ever be closed.
And the reason why she says that is they have, they have 1 trillion in 2011, and BlackRock, they hold 1 trillion of theirs. They're bigger than most countries' GDP. So if JP Morgan failed or BlackRock failed or America doesn't raise the debt ceiling, the whole world collapses monetarily.
But Diamond has made missteps in the past. In 2012, the bank lost more than $6 billion after an employee made a series of risky bets.
This transaction that you said morphed, what did it morph into? Russian roulette?
It morphed into something I can't justify that was just too risky for our company.
He does impose accountability in the context of risk. That could be one of your best risk management tools, is to make sure, tell your people, go out and take some risks, make some money, understand the risk, manage the risk, stay within our risk appetite, and understand, if you take stupid risks, you're going to be accountable.
I said, I always don't put me on the pedestal. Just stop that. Companies make mistakes and CEOs make mistakes.
While Diamond's management style has helped the bank grow even larger than its competitors, it's also expanded his role in the industry.
Okay, so something you need to notice is Bank of America and Chase both have the largest assets under management or bank deposits. Bank of America is connected to Ripple. Warren Buffett in 2020 closed out of all of his bank stocks except Bank of America and raised it by 10%.
If you're the Treasury Secretary and there's something broken in the banking industry, Jamie Dimon's your first call.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called Diamond to kickstart First Republic's initial rescue effort.
It bought the bank time. It did seem to help the crisis.
So Janet Yellen has him on speed dial. I mean, think about this, guys. Think about this. It's not a TikToker or YouTuber or anybody that we have the inside information. This is the real deal. This is what's happening, guys. We are all being showed a dog and pony show. You need to understand this game.
And really, other CEOs and other banks have been like, it was Jamie.
And over the years, Diamond has become the go-to voice for banks in Washington.
Members of the committee, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about JP Morgan Chase, the role of America's largest banks as a force for good for the country, its citizens, and the global economy.
When they all go to testify pretty much every year in front of Congress, the other CEOs are like, let's let Jamie answer the questions. We'll let him be the guy out front. And part of that's because he's built this reputation and he's less worried about losing his job or getting regulators mad at him.
I think it will put smaller banks in a position that when a crisis hits, they will virtually have to stop lending because putting up those reserves will be too much at precisely the wrong time. So I do think this becomes an issue for you all to reconsider.
And Diamond is known to be outspoken in public statements too.
Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud.
It's almost an embarrassment being an American citizen traveling around the world and listening to the stupid we have to deal with in this country.
You ask me, I'll tell you my opinion is that's not a JP Morgan opinion and stuff like that.
He is the same person privately and publicly. He'll curse, he'll get excited about things, he'll dismiss other things. He is Jamie.
A spokesperson for JP Morgan Chase and Jamie Dimon declined to.
Okay, so it's a great video. Well done. I'll put this in the description. Congratulations to whoever created this. I'll put this in the description down below. I think it was the Wall Street Journal, I think. So we go down here. So I showed you guys this ecosystem, okay? I showed you R3 that's connected. We showed you consensus that's connected to Ethereum. Now let's get into the nitty gritty, okay? So JP Morgan has developed ChatGPT like AI services that gives investing advice, okay? BlackRock created Aladdin, which is a AI sophisticated trading platform. Okay, we got to follow what they're doing, family. They are taking us into cryptocurrency. The reason why they have us resisting cryptocurrency is because they don't want a bunch of people in there early. Their thesis, that they have their thesis, they have ours. It's to protect us from these nefarious things. And there is a lot of bullshit happening in cryptocurrency, but there's a lot of bullshit happening in the regular financial system. You know, we're all being scammed if you don't understand the game. You know, the whole adage of going to school, getting a job, putting your money in a 401k and hoping that it's allocated correctly and hoping that you retire with enough money, that's not a strategy, family. We have to get out of that mindset. Okay, cryptocurrency is one part of our portfolio that allows us to make a large amount of profits during the right time frame to exit, to broadly get into diverse assets so that we can grow our wealth and we can secure our family. We don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. Okay, so this is where I want to get into the nuts and bolts. Okay, so let's take a look. Ready? Drum roll, please. I showed you Target. I showed you Kohl's. I showed you Disney. The top 10 owners of JP Morgan are Vanguard and BlackRock. Drum roll, please. Top 10 owners of Coinbase, Vanguard, and you got BlackRock in the top 10. Drum roll, please. Coinbase, selected by BlackRock, provide Aladdin clients access to the crypto trading and custody via Prime. So here we are, family. So here's the ecosystem. Okay, I know everybody wants to think that everybody's battling against each other, and on TikTok is the LGBT community is going against this community, and Christians are going against it. Guys, it's all by design. What Jesus and God really wants us to do is to get our own shit together, is to pull the log out of our eye before we pull the straw out of another. But what they're doing is they're forcing us to point out the straw in each other's eyes. And the more we can pull the straw out of each other's eyes, guess what? We're not looking at what's happening in the true ecosystem. The truth is we're all being played, and it's been like that for a very long time. And there is no reason to go protest. There is no reason to go out in the streets and yell and scream. What you should be doing is following the golden rule. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Treat yourself as you would want others to treat you. So what we do inside the academy is we work harder on ourselves than we do anything else. We're kind, we're loving, we're supportive. Whoever you are, we want you to show up that way. We don't support people being rude or negative to each other. We lift each other up. We allow people to vent. We don't allow people to complain. We come up with solutions. And that's what ecosystems are all about. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Hope this information reaches you well. I know this isn't exciting as pump and dumps and getting rich quick, but that's not what we do here. That's not what we're teaching. We're teaching safety, security by learning from our mistakes. That's what you're supposed to do. When you make mistakes, you're supposed to go teach other people to not do the same. So I'm going to continue to forge forward. I have some exciting news. Just to share with you guys, I took my, I'm very excited about this. I announced this in the academy yesterday. I'll be going deeper into it. I actually am now licensed in insurance. I've been obsessed with IUL for the last 2 years, and I'm going to be building a team inside of my Warrior Academy. I'm looking for agents to join my team. I'm going to be building the ecosystem, not only be able to support you with IUL or insurance at large. It's not just IUL. There's many whole life policies. We can help you build wealth. And I'm about generational wealth, safe, secure wealth paradigms that help us pass it down to the next generation. So I got licensed yesterday. I'm really excited going through the background check process, and I'm going to be building my own insurance team within my academy. So I'd love to have you inside there. If you're someone who's like, hey, listen, I'm really passionate about finances. I really want to grow my wealth, but I don't want to work 19 hours a day, but I really want to help educate people and work from home. That's the ecosystem that we're building. We also have another exciting thing coming up in our academy around Ripple pre-IPO. We're working very hard through the SEC, the proper paperwork. I'm building some vehicles. I'm an accredited investor, building some vehicles where we can help people within about the next 90 days get into Ripple pre-IPO through, I think it's a 503B or 503C. My apologies. I should not speak out of school, but we're properly going through the SEC paperwork, doing the things we need to do, building a 503B, I think it is, or 503C. And basically, a credit investor holds the fund, and then we invest in Ripple for people. So a lot of exciting things going on. We're dotting our I's, crossing our T's. So these are all the types of things happening within our academy. So make sure you get in, plug in, description down below. As we always say, Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go.